Dear student, all of you, good morning. Today I am going to teach you SST subject, chapter first in history, how, when and where. This is the first chapter of history of class 8. In this chapter, we will study about the important events, important historical monuments, and famous king, when he or she became the king or queen, and when the historical monuments constructed, and where the historical monuments constructed, the battles, wars also fought in which year. All these events we will study in this chapter. So dear students, at first we will study the importance of date. Importance of dates. Importance of dates. If we want to know the correct history, that is if the history, ancient history, medieval history or modern history, and in this class, in class 8, we will study the modern history. So if we want to know the correct events, timing, so dates are very important. If you know the correct date about the particular events, then it will be very beneficial for us. Like if anybody asks to you that when was fought the Battle of Plassey, the Battle of Buxar, the first Battle of Panipat, the Battle of Tarain, there were many battles. If anybody asks to you that when the particular monuments like Taj Mahal and historical monuments like Red Fort, when it was built, so all these events, all these important sentence are depend on the dates. So anybody asks to you when was the first Battle of Panipat fought, immediately if you know, then you will reply that in 1526. If anybody asks to you when was fought the Battle of Plassey, Battle of Buxar, if you know the correct date, then immediately you will reply. So then you will be appreciated. There is no doubt. So importance of dates are very important to know the correct history. And dear student, after that, if all of us want to know the division of the history. So history is divided and mentioned into three main period: the ancient period, medieval period, and modern period. James Mills, the Scottish philosopher, he divided Indian history into three groups based on religion. Like the history, ancient history means the period of Hindus, medieval history the period of Muslims, modern history the period of British. So the division of history that was done by the James Mill was not liked by the maximum historian. So immediately the Indian historian avoided this, and Indian historian again divide the Indian history based on the period, like the modern ancient history, medieval history, and modern history. So this is based on the periodization. So what is the definition of periodization? Periodization means the period in which the great activity is done, and the large time periodization. तो अब आपको यहाँ समझ में आया इंपॉर्टेंस. जैसे हिस्ट्री में थोड़ा सा और इसको क्लियर कर दूँ. हिस्ट्री अगर आपको पढ़ना है तो हिस्ट्री जैसे हाउ, व्हेन, वेयर, ऑल दीज ये जो चैप्टर्स नेम दिए गए हैं, इसमें इंपॉर्टेंट क्या है? सबसे ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट डेट है. जैसे डेट्स को आपको समझना है तो डेट्स को समझने के लिए आपको जैसे कोई इवेंट है, कोई बैटल कब हुई, कोई वॉर कब हुआ, कोई हिस्टोरिकल मॉन्यूमेंट्स कब बनाई गई, सो ऑल दीज जो सेंटेंसेस हैं, जो क्वेश्चंस बनेंगे, इसके आंसर टोटली डिपेंड होंगे डेट्स पर. अगर आप डेट्स को क्लियर कर ले रहे हैं तो आप आंसर दे ले जाएंगे. पीरियडाइजेशन मैंने बताया, तो पीरियडाइजेशन जो है वो पीरियड क्या है? एक लंबे समय का, एक ड्यूरेशन होती है, एक लंबे समय ड्यूरेशन होती है, और इम्पोर्टेंट कुछ कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स उसकी, कुछ डिस्टिंक्टिव जो कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स होती है उस पर डिपेंड होता है। तो आप यहाँ देख रहे हैं पीरियडाइजेशन की बातें हो जाती हैं। तो पीरियडाइजेशन में जब सबसे पहले हिस्ट्री को जो पीरियडाइजेशन किया है वो जेम्स मिल्स ने जब किया, तो उसने इंडियन हिस्ट्री को बेस्ड ऑन रिलीजन कर दिया, उसने एंशियंट हिस्ट्री को हिंदू पीरियड कह दिया, उसने मॉडर्न मेडुअल पीरियड को, जो मेडुअल हिस्ट्री थी, मेडुअल टाइम को उसने मुस्लिम पीरियड कह दिया, उसने मॉडर्न पीरियड को जो है वो ब्रिटिश पीरियड कह दिया। तो इंडिया के जो हिस्टोरियंस थे उन लोगों को ये लाइक नहीं लगा, मतलब बहुत ज़्यादा इससे सेटिस्फाइड नहीं हुए। फिर इंडिया के लोगों ने अगेन उसको जो है डिस्क्राइब किया कि वही एंशियंट पीरियड, मेडुअल पीरियड और मॉडर्न पीरियड में कर दिया, और ये मैक्सिमम लोगों को ठीक लगा, और इसी को आज हम भी जानते रहते हैं। एंड इन सोर्स ऑफ मटेरियल्स देयर आर टू कैटेगरी, प्राइमरी एंड सेकेंडरी। सोर्स ऑफ मटेरियल्स, source of materials, primary source, secondary source। Primary source, documents, written documents and interviews of the scholars and other historical monuments। Secondary source periodics and government documents, coins and many things, according to which with the help of these sources we will find the exact history, exact events, exact about the king or the activity of the king. This is related to the source of material. If we want to know history correctly based on the source of material, we will find out the correct history of the particular time. And administrative records in the source of material, administrative record, administrative records. During the British time, Britishers were very interested to maintain the record, to maintain the written record, and they also preserved them in a particular buildings, archives, in a particular building which was known as archives. So they were very interested to maintain the records, and to maintain the records they also captured, they also hired many person who had very beautiful writing, and they, with the help of handwriting, with the help of very beautiful handwriting, they maintained records. So the person who maintained the record, the person who maintained the administrative record were known as calligraphists, and the activity which was done to complete the administrative records known as the calligraphy, beautiful handwriting, the activity of beautiful handwriting, calligraphy, and the person who done this, the person who completed the administrative records were known as the calligraphist. Second, surveys report. As you know, surveys report, survey, you also heard about the survey. Like if you want to know the education condition of a village, so you will talk to near about 10 people in a village, near about 10 people, and if among the 10 people the 8 people are educated, then in a very easy process you will say that near about 80% population of this village are educated. This is the survey report. So during the British period, during the British time, there were many surveyors. In 1815, the first surveyors generals of India was George Everest in 1815, who maintained the report based on the survey, and he also calculated the height of the Mount Everest, in 1849. So on the name of the George Everest, the Mount Everest was named. So the survey is very important also. Survey is very important also to collect the information of the particular period. And mapping is also important. Based on the map, we will find out the condition and the activity and the norms of the peoples. Mapping is also very important. Literary record, mapping. Based on the map, we will also find out the place of the battle, means where. Mapping is very important to know about the where the first battle of Panipat was fought. So the first battle of Panipat, in Panipat, the answer is very simple, in Panipat. So based on the map, it will be very easy for us to know the event that happened, where the event is happened, where the event was happened. And the literary source in every time, like in ancient time, medieval time, in modern period, there were many scholars who completed his or her autobiographies, his or her important books, in which he or she maintained the different activities of the king, the different activities of the royal families and other ministers. So like that, in medieval time, like Akbarnama, Humayunnama, Babarnama, there were many historical monuments that tell us about the administrative activity of those rulers. So in ancient times also, very important books were written by the scholars that tell us about the administrative activity of those period. So in the British time also, there were many historical great scholars who maintained the records, who complete his or her autobiographies and also important books that tell us about the administrative activity of British time. So the literary source is also very important to know the exact history. And the National Museum, literary source. Literary source means written documents. And the National Museum, do you know about museum? What is museum? Museum is a place, museum is a building where all the important things, all the important materials related to the king or queen are kept and preserved by the government. म्यूजियम क्या है? एक ऐसी बिल्डिंग, एक ऐसा प्लेस होता है जहां पर राजा या रानी से रिलेटेड जो उनके मटेरियल्स हुआ करते थे, जैसे उसमें सोर्ट्स होती थी, उनके क्लॉथेस होते थे, उनके आर्टरीज होती थी और दूसरी बहुत सी चीज़ें जो वो लड़ाइयों में यूज़ करते थे, जो अपने खाने पीने में यूज़ करते थे। तो इम्पोर्टेंट चीज़ें जो उनकी होती थी उसको वो प्रिजर्व उसमें गवर्नमेंट जब करती है और उसको सिक्योरिटी में रखती है, सेव रखती है, तो वही प्लेस, वही बिल्डिंग क्या है? म्यूजियम होती है, म्यूजियम होता है। तो ये नेशनल म्यूजियम इज आल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, नेशनल म्यूजियम इज आल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू नो द हिस्ट्री बिकॉज ऑल द मटेरियल्स are available there, and if we will see them, then immediately we will find out the name of the king and the activity of the king and the administration activity of the king with the help of the museum in which the important materials related to king or queen are kept. And after that, National Archives, National Museum, National Archives. National Archives. What is the difference? I am going to tell you about the difference between National Museum and National Archives. Museum in which the materials are kept, like the sword and clothes and crowns, all these things. And in archives, archives archives is a building also in which the governments keep the records, the written documents, the written records of the king or written records of the particular period. With the help of the written records of archives, we will be able to find out the history of the particular period clearly. अब देखिए म्यूजियम और आर्किव्स में डिफरेंस क्लियर है। म्यूजियम वो जगह होती है जहाँ राजा या रानी और दूसरे स्कॉलर से रिलेटेड सामान रखे रहते हैं। आर्किव्स वो बिल्डिंग होती है जहाँ पर राजा या रानी से रिलेटेड लिखी गई किताबें, चाहे वो किंग हो, क्वीन हो या कोई स्कॉलर्स हो या कोई कह लीजिए कि जो रॉयल फैमिली के लोग होते हैं, जो मिनिस्टर्स होते हैं, उनसे रिलेटेड कोई बुक्स जो लिखी जाती है, वो सारी चीज़ें, या एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव जो रिकॉर्ड्स होते हैं, वो सारी चीज़ें जहाँ रखी जाती हैं उसको आर्किव्स कहते हैं और बाकी इसको म्यूजियम कहते हैं। तो ये दोनों चीज़ें जो बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट होती हैं हिस्ट्री को जानने के लिए। तो आप जानते हैं एक एक स्टेप आपको मैंने बताया वन बाय वन सोर्स ऑफ मटेरियल में कि इफ वी वांट टू नो द करेक्ट हिस्ट्री ऑफ द पर्टिकुलर पीरियड, सो विद द हेल्प ऑफ दिस we will immediately find out the correct history of the particular period, and that will be very beneficial for us. So dear student, now this chapter has been finished, and with the help of this explanation of the chapter, you will solve your all exercises of your books, and also you will complete your question answer in your copies with the help of my explanation. And after that, if you will face in any problem, you can comment on comment box.